Everything is set.
Perfect.
We start?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, we'll begin.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another online session at Maja House. Maja House, as many of you know, is a physical space in Amritsar. It's also our ancestral home that has now been converted into a public space where we talk about literature, culture, arts, and ideas. Because of the present situation, since you can't come to us, we are coming to you. I am Gayatri Gill, and on behalf of Maja House, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to this evening's session, a day in the life of Maria Goretti.
Who is Maria? The curtains.
Maria Goretti Varsi has a long list of accolades under her belt. From being a VJ, who we all remember quite vividly, a dancer, to an award-winning writer, a scuba diver, a mommy, a pet parent, Maria juggles many hats with an ease that she totally owns. Her travel show on Living Foods and the recipes she shares on her very popular YouTube channel are very, very well liked, not just because of their content, but because they're charged with her warmth and vivacity. Be it her poems, her food, or the bits and bobs that she shares from her home, they're all touched by something unique, something very Maria. And I'm delighted that she's here with us today to tell us more about herself and how she started on her culinary adventure and started whipping up all these exotic masterpieces. And more than that, what it takes to be this awesome while still following your heart. Okay.
Oh, God.
In conversation with her today, we have Sunil Mehra. He's an immensely talented actor, writer, journalist, and of course, an accomplished dastango. With his wit, charm, and all-round fabulousness, Sunil is a true man for all seasons. Before I hand this over, I want to say that what I love and admire most about these two, apart from their very infectious laughter, which we'll see a lot of today, is their ability to find beauty and joy in the most ordinary of things. And that is something that's truly extraordinary. And we all know we need a pinch of that extraordinary in our lives just this minute. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your adrak chai. I know I will. I'm already settled in. Over to you guys. Over to you, Sunil. Cheers.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. That is a fond encomium from a fond niece, and so for which I'm very grateful. If young people even talk to you these days, you're grateful. I am particularly delighted to welcome Maria Goretti because she seems to be a lady after my heart. Somebody like me who reinvents himself every 5 years. And then you see a kindred spirit out there and you say, oh, whoa, I love this woman because she reinvents herself all the time and each time with distinction. I was writing a resume for a friend's son, not too long ago. And he had done so much. And I said, Bharat, how do I possibly compress you into a resume? And I also got very jealous because I said, you know, the good old days, you would have been called fickle. Today, we are all called diverse, you know, multifaceted, which is what Maria is and which is why I particularly fell in love with her when I read about her. And then, of course, I'm looking at her and there's a lot to love out there. Okay, so Maria Goretti Corner has faithful adherents, 10,000 people at last count when I did not check, but which I was told. The Do It Sweet show on Indie TV, the I Love Cooking on Living Foods, 2 sons, Zek and Zen. Have I got the
Zene, son and a daughter.
Zeke and Zene.
Yeah.
Okay, son and a daughter. She has 2 babies. I refuse to call them dogs because I have 3. One's called Ziggy, one's called Ziggy. 3! Wow! So one more added, Ziggy, Zuni Boo.
Ziggy Maz is my black lab. Zuni Boo is my golden lab. And I have Minx, who is a rescue. She is my little cat. And I love her. And now they've all kind of made friends. So it's nice.
So you have two boys and a girl out there.
I have Ziggy, who is a boy. Zuni is a girl. Minx, my cat, she's what you call a wild cat, okay. And she's a girl. She is a girl.
Good. Yeah, so my family is Kupuswami, Chote Lal, and Puchka. So I have 3, all rescue dogs. Nice. So anyway, back to Maria.
Sunil, among other things, yes. So you have to say this. So when I read Dastango. I was thinking something out of a Western film or something. You know, I had never heard that word before, and I mean it. So I went and I read up about it, and I was like, oh my God, it's about Dastan, and it comes from that word. But it's so amazing. I loved it. So we're gonna have to do a demo of what a Dastango does before the end of this, because I cannot let you go without that.
Sure. Thank you so much. That's so kind. So more to love about Maria is she's a marathoner. She completed the Bombay Marathon in 2016. For somebody flat-footed like me, that's awesome. Among other things, she got married, found time between doing other things in 1999. The guy who married her became famous because he married her. His name is Arshad Barsi, but we know Maria, don't we? So what else? She did a film called Salam Namaste, where she put in a special appearance with Zek, her son, and also put in an appearance in Raghu Romeo with Rajat Kapoor, which I'm sure you must have seen. We seem to have run almost parallel lives except a generation apart, because I'm an ex-Oberoi baking man, a management trainer, a hotelier, and there is this girl who's done a baking course, a cordon bleu baking course at Sophia Polytechnic, and then goes on to Tante Marie London after she became a mom and realized that she'd have to more than feed her kids, she'd have to engage with them and keep them interested in food and keep it coming and keep it healthy and keep it happy. So Tante Marie London, and knowing her to be a people's person, I mean, food is the next big step, you know. When you love people, you love to feed them too. And then most recently, right after that, the icing on the cake was the 6-week patisserie course at the Cordon Bleu School in Paris, where I recently was, which is such a... Oh, yes. Well, I know, just visiting. I spent a whole afternoon gorging and tasting, drinking wine and drinking, and the lovely desserts that they turn out in front of you. But one significant difference, guys, I cook, and Maria, of course, you know, is legend. But the basic thing is what she learned over there was something that I have not yet learned how to deal with. I always say we lie. We go in like Zubin Mehta, you know, and conduct the proceedings like that. Except that there is always a journey out there to cut, chop, peel, boil, blanch for you. And then you go in and do the wonders and say, you know, maine pakaya. But Maria, of course, learned to do everything the hard way, because right from buying the produce to, and that's what the French do, they're very fastidious. Any cookery course worth its salt will do that. So right from buying it, checking the meat or the vegetable or the fruit, cutting it, chopping it, peeling it, and then treating it, and then cooking it and putting the dish on the table. That's Maria Goretti for you. And that's how thorough she has had to be. So I really want to ask Maria, young and vivacious as she is, she's packed so much into such a little time span. How did the journey start, Maria? What happened?
How did the journey start?
Yeah.
So actually, Sunil, I did not know how to cook at all. And after giving birth to my Zeke, after about 2 years of that, I realized that I needed to make stuff for him, you know, starting from like plain khichdi to whatever, you know, has to go on. And I really, my repertoire of food was one baked chicken, you know, I could do a pasta. Who's going to feed a child a baked chicken? You know, so I had to start with tiny things like how to make khichdi. I had never made khichdi in my life. Then I started learning how to make soup. And it was just the tiny things that I had started learning. And then along with that, I realized that I really enjoyed this. You know, so I did it for some time. And then I was pregnant with Zene. And Zene was born. And I think after Zene turned 3, I actually went back on set and did my first piece of work as a television host again. And that piece of work happened to be Sweet on NDTV. And for the first time, I was on a set that was making dessert.
Which was the Do It Sweet.
Do It Sweet of NDTV and Vicky Ratnani. And Vicky was there. It was his first show. And it was my first food show. And I was so intrigued by, oh, so you whisk this and you add that and you do this and you do that and it becomes a mousse. Or you do this and you do that and you put a little cold in it, infuse a little this and it becomes that. So it was like magic. I was like, wow. So I remember I used to ask Vicky, I said, okay, can I melt this chocolate? How do you do this? How do you do that? I think at the end of those 3 days, I don't even remember how many things we had short. And so it was my first introduction to baking. And then that year, 2010, in December, I did another show called Pressure Cooker, which was these two teams who were doing a cook together. There was Ritu Dalmia, who was one of the mentors. There was Vicky Ratnani, again, who was one of the mentors. And I was the host, and I was just the host. But
Wow.
I was again on a set with all this food and they were all doing things. And I was like, how, what is the recipe? So that that whole 1 week I spent saying, how do you do this? Okay. Let me write this. So I was more interested. I realized that I loved my hosting because that came easily to me, but I loved the food. And I was like, damn, I've got to learn. And there was one of the girls on the show who told me about this place in London. And she said, just go and figure it out. And I wanted to go to Cordon Bleu at that time, because they had a 9-month course, and now with a kid you cannot really be 9-month course. So that was a big zero for me immediately. That was in London, the Cordon Bleu London. Yeah, that was the course. Yeah, so I googled Tante Marie, and Tante Marie had something called the Gap Year course. That was a 3-month course. And it was something that was very heavy on time and what you did 3 months. But it was something that I could do because I could not keep getting out. So I was like, okay, get in there, work really hard, and get out of there. So that's what I did. I went in 2011. I did this whole thing. I got out. 1 year before that, I anyway joined Sapphires, and I did 1 year of baking in Sapphires, Polytechnique in Bombay. And then when I went here, I realized I was better at bread because my hands were, a little attuned to doing baking stuff. And then I also learned cuisine. I learned breads, it was boulangerie. And I was doing bakery, which was your tea cakes, all these kind of things, along with ice cream, along with little different cuisines that they touched on. So it was a very beautiful place to study for me. And then, of course, I did this for really long. And then I kind of figured that I don't understand pastry, and I'm one of those people who are a bit obsessive. And I want to go deep into whatever it is and figure it out and learn it and, just get it all. So one of my friends, Anurita, who is a pastry chef in Mumbai, she told me that Le Cordon Bleu was doing something called the intensive course, which means you do basic, intermediate, and superior, but you don't do it in 3-month modules. You do it in 6-week modules, and you work your ass off, which means I was in school. So I did my basic in Paris. I did my intermediate in London, and I did my basic again my superior again in Paris. So in that way, I finished the entire loop of everything. But the thing is that I used to be working from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the night, which meant I would get up at 5:30 every day.
When did you
2018. Sorry, what is happening? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your screen's frozen for some strange reason. I don't know why. Screen's frozen. 1 minute, let me check. Neha. Beta, can somebody check the internet connection? I think it's unstable. I think the internet connection is unstable. Maria, can you hear me? No, nobody can hear me. It's all. It's not working suddenly.
I can hear you. Sunil, we can hear you.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, great. So, is it Maria's connection then? Is it Maria's connection which has gone unstable? And I can see you guys. Maria, can you hear me?
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, great, great. So let's carry on. Let's carry on. We were talking about 8 o'clock in the morning at night.
Yeah, so I would get up at 5:30 in the morning. I would make my breakfast. I would iron my clothes. I would have my breakfast, pack something for lunch, and I would walk out of my house at 7:10 in the morning. 7:10 in the morning. I remember when I was doing my superior, it used to be 0 to -1 degrees in Paris at that point of time. And I'd be walking in the freezing cold. But the most beautiful thing is that I used to pass the Eiffel Tower every day because I used to live in the 16th, and then I used to go over the bridge to go to the 15th. So I used to seize the Eiffel every morning. So it used to be like the high point in my life to watch that Eiffel every day as I go to college. And yeah, it was a lot of hard work, It was like sweat and blood, that kind, because you were monitored all the time. You were marked every day. You were marked on your uniform. You were marked on how you were with other chefs. It was a very intensive thing, but it really honed your skill, and I was very happy that I did it. So I understood pastry. I came back, and I finished in 2018, but today I feel, damn, I should have done cuisine. So now
Patisserie is very tough to do. I mean, also
yes.
beginning with also understanding the temperament of the oven. You've got to make friends with the oven because every oven has a different temperament.
Every oven works differently, yeah. And it's always technique, like I tell a lot of people, like I put out a few videos and people say, oh, give us a recipe. So sometimes I feel like telling them it's not about the recipe, it's a technique. If you get the technique, you can do any recipe. But if I give you a recipe, that's the only recipe you can do. So, when I put videos out of certain things, I feel people miss the point. It's like, I'm giving you this technique for free. Take it, use it, and then do what you want with it. It's not always about a recipe, but I guess, yeah, that's how it is.
But I guess that comes with felicity in the kitchen and a feel for ingredient, because somebody like me, who's a recipe cook, till you've really not gone through the drill a couple of times, you can't begin to innovate. I intuit that you are the kind of person who creates magic with whatever's available, because you're intuiting your food.
No, but Sunil, I was not that person. I was never that person. I now understand food. I today understand flavors. But when I do Indian food, for instance, then I'm like, please give me a recipe and I will follow it to the T, because that is something that does not come naturally to me. Because I'm an East Indian. Now, East Indians come from Mumbai. We come from the 7 islands of Mumbai, and we East Indians have a certain kind of cuisine which was mostly heavy on meat and fish. We ate very few vegetables. Mm-hmm. So something like a palak paneer, I ate for the first time when I was working and I was on a set and the chef made palak paneer, and I was like, oh, and they called it wilted spinach and cottage cheese. So I thought, I don't know what I've learned, and I've come back. Wilted spinach and cottage cheese. I was so excited about it. And I remember I made it. And everyone was like, that's palak paneer. I'm like, okay, I didn't know this.
Yeah, well, we in the Oberoi, we made... In the Oberois with great flourish, we made blancmange oriental, which is actually bloody rice.
I like that. It's nice.
Oriental, if you please.
Love it.
Yeah. So tell me something. Is food a passion that has become a profession, or would you put it to commercial use? Like, have you ever fantasized about having a small little outlet of your own where everybody would come for the 6 signature Goretti dishes? Have you ever thought about that?
I have to tell you that the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes. I have always wanted a small place.
Why not? Of course.
Yeah, I've always wanted a small little place but I have never got down to doing it, Sunil. I don't know what has stopped me. You know, I think sometimes I feel it's time.
Kids, dogs,
Yeah.
dogs, matrimony.
All of that.
Kids, dogs, matrimony, real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, I mean, I think about that, and in fact, I finally have a small.
So
mini
tell
brand.
me, one of the things I discovered when I started cooking French food. So in the Oberois, we were put through about 63 French sauces, you know. One of the things I discovered was food has many Indian corollaries in terms of fragrance, flavor, plating, presentation. I realized that, for instance, Bengali food or Kashmiri food, in how they pair foods, was very akin to the way food was thought into elsewhere in Europe as well. Or has that been your experience? With Italian and French cuisine, it's always about the ingredient, about the
Yes.
plating, about matching this with that. Did you find resonance with your that you already knew?
So the thing is, for me, when I first started cooking, I really never knew one from the other. You know, it's like when I first cooked, it's like the chefs would do a demo, then you'd get into the kitchen. So the first time I learned, pardon me?
The connection is fractured. I lose you sometimes, but I presume it's okay for other people. So it's okay.
I don't know what is happening. This is so sad. Why is this happening? One second.
Yeah.
Is it fine? Is this okay?
I'm okay. I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine right now. I really am. Thank you. Yeah. Maria, keep talking, please.
So I think for me, the first time that I learned cuisine, it was a brand new experience because they were flavors that I didn't know. You know, so it was like the first time I did French food was in Tantimari, and I was like, why is it all so bland? You know, because as somebody who comes from India, you're so used to our masalas and our, you know, our various things that you put into a dish before it becomes what it is. That when you start doing international food, the subtlety of the flavor of the meat and the flavor of the vegetables and the just one time which is put into butter and it is then poured into the sauce and that's the flavor that you're going to get is something that you need.
And the seduction. The seduction of that sauce, no? So
and it's something that you actually learn. You know, you kind of. So today I love vegetables that are cooked to a point where you can taste the vegetable, not the masala. So today I cook very differently. Also today when I cook, I mix my East Indian bottle masala with various different types of food. You know, like I make bread I make like a sourdough bread with masala in it, which is my East Indian bottle masala. So it's a little spicy and it is really nice with cheese. So that kind of thing. But then,
Do you courier? Can we place orders? Do you courier stuff?
To start doing stuff, Sunil. I'm telling you, I'm sitting on my ass and not working. You know, something's got to give, you know. I mean, during this lockdown,
Maria, a book on East Indian cuisine seems in order because it's one cuisine which is in danger of getting lost. And it's a very rich cuisine, isn't it?
It is. But you know, the sad bit of this is that none of them, and I mean this, none of the old aunties and grandmas want to give you their recipe. And they all hold it so tight. Or they give it to you, they'll give it to you with something missing. So it's never going to taste like theirs.
Something vital missing.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's like, sometimes I feel that if you do not share, the next generation will not have it because we don't know how to make it. You know, it's like I know 5 or 8 East Indian things that my mom made. You know, if I want to do what my grandmother made, only there's just one or two things that I know. But that is the thing. It's like today, nobody, you know, the aunts who make that amazing food, they don't want to share it. And I tried reaching out to a few people when I thought I'll do this East Indian, book for all of us newbies who do not know our own culture. But I stopped because I was like, I got too tired trying to, firstly, trying to extract homework from my children and then trying to extract a recipe from some person. Just didn't tie up for me.
From the auntie, from territorial aunties,
I'm like,
One,
no.
one of the things that I was very
Sunil, I can't hear you.
triumphant about was when I discovered a childhood memory of eating Iranian orange juice, Iranian rice, saffron flavored, cooked in orange juice with
Wow.
orange shreds in it as dessert, And my godmother, my Kashmiri godmother used to make it. And I chanced upon it. I sort of, hit and miss and various recipes. And finally, I managed to make it the other day. And I was gloating. Have you had those eureka moments where you chance upon something and say, oh my God, I nailed it. I found it.
I think at the moment I did something called a kanule.
Everybody's cooking lockdown times. So
Yeah.
it's a great time.
Yeah, so I did something called a kanule, which is basically a custard that is cooked at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time. And when you bite into it, the outside is all crackly, crispy, and then inside is custardy. So for me, when I made that, I
wow.
was like, boss, this was a good one. So among all the recipes that I did, this was the one that I was like, oh. So yeah, I enjoyed that. But otherwise, most of the time that I cooked during this lockdown was meals for the house, meals that everybody sat and ate.
Yeah.
So it was mostly stuff that was everyday. It was no fancy anything. It was like whatever was available, I would put that together with whatever marinades I had, and it'd be out on the table. So yeah, but I did a lot of cooking that I never do normally. It's like most of the time I cook only when there's an occasion or there's a birthday or I want to cook one special dish. But this was like a crazy marathon of cooking that I totally enjoyed. I've never.
Do the kids cook?
My son cooks. My son cooks. Yeah.
Lovely.
My son is a very, very. I would say he's a very
Does
experimental.
Arshad cook? Does your husband cook?
Very well. Yes, he makes a very mean run biryani. Like outstandingly awesome. Yeah. So he does that. So in fact, I never cook. He used to, I remember he used to go to the kitchen and he used to make something and he used to go, oh, it needs this. And I mean, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to show off? What do you mean by it needs more things? Because I didn't know how to cook. And I was like, why is he doing? But today, yeah.
Listen, you can't be eating like that. You can't be biting into that custard and be looking the way you do. So obviously the marathoning was to compensate for the calories that you're constantly at play and in flirtation with. So tell me more about the marathon.
So I did a marathon, I think.
Tell me about your Murakami movement, Maria Guratti.
So I must tell you, the first time I did a marathon, I was so petrified that I will not reach my 21K. I suffer from low BP. So I was so frightened that I will pass out somewhere that I remember I drank water at every post that gave me water. And I was like, I said, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I need to drink this water. What if I don't get it there? I didn't know. Like in my head, I was not sure when I'm going to get my next small bottle of water or my next small bottle of whatever they give you, those little energizers. And so my first marathon I ran, and I remember when I got on to the sea link. Okay, you start at the Worli Sea Face in Bandra, in Bombay, and then go over the sea link. I think I ran my next 2 marathons only because I could run on the sea link. That feeling of running on that ceiling, I think, is the most spectacular feeling I have felt. You start at 5:40 in the morning, so it's absolutely dark, and then there's just everyone running on thud, 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 thud. It's just beautiful. And yeah, I did that thrice. 2018, I think was the last marathon I ran. No, not to, yeah, 2018, correct. And then 2019, I did not run because I was not prepared for it. And then I started training for the 2020 marathon and I hurt my knee. So I have a ruptured patella and a torn meniscus, and that's the end of my running.
Good Lord, how did you? Did you have a fall? Did you have a fall?
Oh, I just started and I did too much too soon and I just ruptured it. So now I'm not allowed to.
Goretti is a girl in a rush, is she?
Yeah, yeah. I tend to be a little too quick sometimes.
We love that. Maria, tell me something. Food to me is love. Food to me is meditation. Food to me is community. Food to me is warmth. What is food to you? What is food to you?
I think food to me is peace. You know, it's meditation and peace to me. I started cooking at a time in my life that I didn't even know that I needed to slow down. You know, and I realized that every time I would make something, I used to be so involved with it. And I used to feel so good about me and my insides when I did something. I used to love cooking once the kids went off to sleep. You know, the kids were really small when I first started cooking. And I used to wait for them to go to sleep.
You know something? This must be telepathy. This must be telepathy. I swear. I was just going to ask you, do you also bake at midnight?
Yes.
Because that is what I do.
Yes. I love it.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I love it.
Wow. Tell me about it. Tell us about it. Tell us about it. Please
So,
tell me about it.
You know what I'm talking about, because, you know, when there's absolutely nobody and the kitchen is just yours and you can just do whatever you
Absolutely.
want at your pace, you know, it is the most beautiful feeling in the world. And I enjoy that. I really enjoy no one in my kitchen. You know, I like that. Okay, now I'm going to do this and I'm going to leave that there and I'm going to put this at, you know, you do it at your own pace. It's like it just slows you down. It stops all the noise in your head. And, you know, you're just in that moment. And then what you have out there is this beautiful, whatever it is that you're making. And there is some magic about it, I feel. You know, it does something to your insides. And I like that. I like that.
Does your body talk to you every day and tell you, this is what I need to eat today, or this is what I need to cook today? Does your body tell you?
During lockdown, I was just making exactly what I wanted. It was quite lovely because
give me a sample of the kind of things Maria likes to bite into.
Okay, so I
begin with breakfast.
So breakfast is always a fruit. Okay, as soon as I wake up, I have a fruit. So I have devoured mangoes like they're going out of style. So I just thought that the most important thing is to eat that damn mango in the morning every day. So I would get up in the morning. I don't care how many calories it was. I was like, this is it. You're getting mangoes in the market, you eat them. So I would eat a mango early in the morning. Then after a break, I will eat my 2 eggs and I'll have a slice of bread, which is toasted and buttered. And then I will have a shot of espresso. So that's my breakfast.
A what?
A shot of espresso.
Espresso.
Yeah. So I love espressos. I don't like milk. I don't like sugar. I love the flavor of whatever that coffee is. So I like that.
Great.
And lunch would be whatever I decided for the day. So, I started doing a lot of bakes because I find it easier to bake than to cook. So I started doing a lot of bakes. So I remember this one day I made this really good chicken, if I may say so myself. I was impressed with it. So I did this whole oriental seasoning and I put it overnight into, I let it marinate overnight. And the next day I took it out and I baked it. And on the side, I made like a soup and I, did vegetables, and it was so good. I was impressed with myself. I was like, what is going on with you? So
Oh,
yeah,
wow. What is
yeah.
your and dinner? What is
So
dinner? Is dinner early? Is dinner early or heavy?
yeah,
What?
dinner in my home, because see, when the kids go to school, dinner is by 7:30. You know, because then they wake up again at 5:45 in the morning, and they're off to school at 6:40. Their bus comes to pick them up. But because now we're in this big lockdown, nobody is going anywhere. So my dinners used to get a little late, from starting at 7:30. Now it's reached 8:30. You know, because in the morning also nobody is going anywhere. My lunch now has pushed to 2 o'clock. You know, when it used to be earlier, but now it's pushed to 2. So the timing at the moment is all off. But the thing is, like if for me, if we do meat at one meal, then the next meal is vegetarian, you know, and there's always a dal on my table because I love dals. I love
More fish or more red meat? More,
fish. Now in this season,
and do
you're
you
not.
eat more red meat or more white meat?
So I do. I love red meat. Okay, I love red meat, but you know, I was a little worried about where the meat is coming from. Blah blah blah. So in fact, in the beginning, I stayed vegetarian for the longest time. I think about a month or so, we were totally vegetarian. You know, and then when we realized, okay, we're getting meat or we're getting this from there, that's when everything started coming in. Then we started getting fish, you know, because the boats were going out. So we're getting fresh fish, and I live in Versova, which is very close to the fish market. So I have a neighbor here, Sanjeev, who was really sweet, and he would, every time he would go to the market, he said, "Do you want fish?" And he would, whatever he was getting, he would get, you know, home. So it's been really nice. You know, I got wonderful neighbors here.
Maria,
And
a lot of us, Maria, are doing one pot meals because
yeah.
of the lockdown. And also,
Yeah.
it's so much simpler. What's your favorite one pot meal?
So my favorite one pot meal is a big baked chicken. Okay, lots of vegetables on the side and a sourdough bread. That's it.
Whoa, sounds
Yeah,
good.
easy.
Okay, what is your
Easy.
favorite meal of the day? What's your favorite meal? There are people who are dinner people, breakfast people, lunch people. What is your meal? Your. I look forward to this meal.
I look forward to all my meals. Yeah. I look forward to all my meals. I enjoy my
Yeah.
so,
And do you ever pair a wine with your food? Do you pair
I
wine?
think lockdown has made me quite an alcoholic. If you, I didn't bother
Welcome
about
to
the
the club.
pairing. Just had wine.
Welcome to the club. The club.
Yeah.
Do you find Indian wines do it for you? Indian wines
You know, I do actually.
do they make the cut
I
for you?
quite like. I mean, there is Reboli. Reboli. I think I've got it wrong. It's a wine from Nasik, and it's quite a lovely wine. It's like a beautiful, full-bodied Merlot, and it was quite a beautiful wine. So, so that is
Wow.
something that, yeah, it was. But I had lots of wines, you know, because I had a lot, and now I have none. I sampled them.
Again, my God. We seem to be running parallel lives here. That's the story that each one of us. Listen, I have monopolized you for long enough, and I think I should turn it over to the audience now. I just want to tell you, it's been just so delicious talking to you. Really lovely.
It's been wonderful
I'm so
talking
glad
to
we
you.
met.
You're a very generous person.
So, guys, oh my God, look at you. You're a gorgeous person. The gorgeous Goretti. Okay, guys, I'm throwing this open for questions now. And you can have your fill of Maria because I've had, you know, Maria to myself all this while. And it would be selfish. Krishna, you seem to be a die-hard fan. You've been hi-mamming and saying fantastic and may this moment always last. So ask her a question. He's totally in love with you, this one.
I can't
Unmute Krishna, for God's sake. He's yelping. Unmute me. Good.
Yeah.
Unmute him.
Yeah,
He
just
wants a hotline to Maria.
okay. Unmuting him.
Unmute Krishna, please.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Krishna.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. How are you?
I'm
I love your teeth, Krishna. They're very cute. I think my I just think that my
I think her internet froze.
Krishna, beyond the fangirl
That's
moment,
very
you have a
tough,
question?
yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
What's your question, Krishna?
Krishna,
You have
what's
a
your
question?
question?
I'd like to ask you, why don't you start your show again? Like, I'm so obsessed with your shows. I want to bake free and type of things.
So
I
that
do your Facebook videos at all times, but it's just so obsessive seeing you bake and do things, you know. I just follow every recipe. It's not that I haven't missed any episode of your show. Both of your shows, I love cooking and I want to bake free.
So those shows are on Living Foods, and I don't have. Very frankly, I cannot tell them now do a new show. It's them who decides what goes on the channel, who goes on the channel. So when something like that comes to me, then I would say yes or no depending on what is being offered. But that prerogative does not lie in my hands. Very frankly. Those are channel decisions that happen at a level, and that's how television works.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's such a great experience talking to you.
Thank you very much, Krishna. It's been really nice talking to you.
Okay, who's next? Who's next, guys? Who's next?
We have
Anybody asking to be unmuted?
yeah, somebody has raised their hand. Prabjot Kaur.
So,
Hello, ma'am.
yeah,
Hi, Prabjot.
Education department from Guru Nanak Dev University main campus. Ma'am, as I'm big admirer of yours, I love your soup recipes. Really, they are amazing. And I want to ask you, as a partner in cooking, what you like to do as a family together in the lockdown period?
What do we do as a family together?
Yeah.
We eat together.
Okay.
We eat together, but otherwise we watch TV together. But I think the cooking bit was kept to me, and I was very lucky that I had my live-in sous chef. So between him and me, we cooked. I cooked one meal, he cooked one meal. They were most happy that they could talk to their friends on their iPads and on their phones. And they got into this lockdown, and suddenly, suddenly
Yeah.
they couldn't see anyone. So they spend a lot of time talking to their friends. We try and catch a film that everyone likes when we can. But I think this lockdown has given everybody a lot of time to do what they want,
Yes.
which I think is fine.
Thanks a bunch, ma'am.
Thank you.
So all you guys who are diehard fans and are missing a show, you should go to YouTube to the Maria Goretti corner, and that's where you'll find lots and
There are a lot of recipes there. You're right. There are.
a lot of stuff there which you can pick up and cross-check with her about.
Yeah.
Well, Preeti, Preeti, are you going to be saying anything?
Yes, I am, but
Can't be heard
oh,
too well.
yes, too. Okay, can you hear now?
Yes, sort of.
I think there's somebody called Galaxy Note 10 who's got a hand.
Yeah, that's a good enough.
Yeah, I'm unmuting that person.
We've all gone into an extended pause. What's
Yeah.
happening? Well, it's a very dramatic pause.
Waiting for Galaxy Note 10 to actually start speaking.
Yeah, it's a very dramatic pause. As it's getting to be theatre now.
Galaxy wants to show me. Oh, come here, Minx. That's my Minx. Come here.
Oh, wow. Oh, hello.
This is my Minx. He's my Minxy Pinks.
I meet someone. Lovely.
I know. Meow, meow, meow.
And she gets
Hi.
along with the dogs. She gets along with the dogs, huh?
Yeah. She was really quick for them. So when they used to chase her, but then they realized they can't catch her. You know, she was zoop, zoop, zoop. But now they kind of smell one another.
So you
and
can't
they
beat them, join them.
Sorry?
They can't beat her, so they joined her. Is
Yeah,
that
so
it?
now they kind of rub one another and walk past one another. I'm still waiting for the time when they all start cuddling and sleeping. I'm waiting for that time, but that's not yet happening.
Yeah, so Galaxy Note 10.
I don't think we have
Yeah.
many more questions. We just have a lot of
I think it's
fangirls and fanboys out there for you.
no, I think
They
it
seem to
was,
be all tongue-tied at the moment.
it was Jasmeet, I think. Jasmeet Nair. Galaxy Note 10.
I saw Jasmeet somewhere.
Yeah, that was
I thought
Galaxy.
she wanted to say
Yeah.
something. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we
just
should
like-
Otherwise, it's close to the kids' dinner time. We should let Maria go. She has 2 kids, 3 babies to take care of,
and we
and
just saw
probably some cooking to do, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody else? Anybody else? Otherwise, we're just gonna love you and leave you. No, Maria. Lovely talking to you. Absolute delight. And I look forward to coming and give you a real-time hug, not a virtual one.
Listen, this. I'm not letting you go before you do this Dastango things. So come on.
Yeah, but Maria, that's not. It's not. It won't work on this one. But I promise
So
you.
how do I get to see what you do? How do I get to see what you do?
I'm on YouTube. Sunil Mehra. If you say Sunil Mehra Dastan Go, it'll pop up. It'll pop up. It will pop up. I'm right there.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
lovely talking to you, and look forward to meeting with you very, very soon. Big virtual hug again.
Thank
Nidhi
you.
Gill, do you want to do the honors and thank your star guest?
Yes. Both
Please
my
do that.
star guests. Yeah.
Both, yeah. He's such a wonderful, giving host. You know.
Yes. So
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
Such a
thank
delight.
you,
Thank you
very,
so
very
much.
much, both of you. A truly unusual woman, Maria. It's been really great listening to you. And for people like me who barely ever enter the kitchen, I can take heart that one fine day I'm going to really get there and do a good job of it.
I'm very sure of that, Preeti.
And it takes a fabulous conversationalist like Sunil to draw out the best from people.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
he
you so
asks
much.
the most interesting questions, including, what you eat for breakfast and what you're eating at dinner. And, maybe some of us can do that. And
We're all obsessing with
yeah,
food.
can
We're
we
all
do
obsessing
it?
with food.
Yeah,
you know.
we all are. That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm always cooking dinner while I'm having breakfast. Say, okay, what's for dinner?
I'm
What's for
always. It's like when we sit, like most of the time, my son Zeke, when we're sitting and eating a meal, he's eating and saying, "So what's for dinner?" I'm like, "Hello, I've just taken so many hours to make this. Now you're getting bread and water for dinner." You know.
So one of the interesting
No,
things
but
that I read about you is that you're unusual because you're not a shopaholic. Okay. And then
No.
you went on to say that you prefer to buy household items rather than bags and shoes. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
And they seem to think that was really unusual. But a lot of us are like that, I think. We're not always buying bags and shoes.
Some
Yeah?
little things I would rather, like, it's not that I don't have one bag or so, but I've realized that it's not important to me. I'd rather come back home with like a ice cream maker or a pasta maker or one fancy kitchen aid or something that makes soup or, those kind of things really excite me. It's like a grater that's amazing or some peeler.
Anyway, thank you very much for being here today, and thank you, Sunil. Sunil, you're also sitting in this fabulous place.
You know, yeah, I'm having a great deal of fun. It's really
Now
lovely.
you're going to be driving back, Sunil. How many hours?
That's just 10 kilometers out of the city. And the city
How
really is
lucky
at my
are
doorstep.
you?
Yeah, I really got lucky, and I'm holed up with these 5 nephews and nieces, each of whom cooks, each of whom is a foodie. So we're all cooking away. It's wonderful, you know. So having a great deal of fun. So this was just serendipity talking to you
I love the
about food today.
words.
So at the end of this lockdown, are we all going to come out like Hathis then?
I think
Well, not if you're a marathon girl like this one, like Maria.
I've not run at all. I've done nothing from an exercise point of view for this entire lockdown. I tried in the middle and then I said, damn it, you know, I'll figure it out. So that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, audience, for being here and for listening. It's also been live on Facebook. So anybody who hasn't been able to catch the session here can go listen to it later because it will stay there. And we'll also have this up on YouTube a little later in a few hours. Yeah, and we have a session tomorrow. So Maja House seems to be rocking it anyway, doing I don't know how many sessions every day. But thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much, Sunil, for taking time off from your fabulous holiday in that forest and doing this with us. Thank you.
Preeti,
And
thank you very
evening.
much for having me on board. Really kind of you. And I hope we can do this at Maja House in the future and, you know, in a better time. And it was a pleasure. It was just a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
See you.